Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to our Wellbeing Wednesday. And I am not Amy Michelle. I'm Carrie. But while she is still away on vacation, we still want to get together and support each other. Do a nice shout out here to Meredith, who's in her car, but on day 2. Thank you for joining. And Sharon and Vicky, welcome. And Valerie, and we have our special guest, Charlotte, and she came last week and gave us some relaxation techniques. And I wanted to tie that straight in because even though we didn't have the Monday night community time this week because of the holiday, everybody was at corporate was away apparently. uh, but we had Dr. A yesterday. So if you got a chance to catch him live, or see the recording. There was some great stuff in there, but always with his, and he brought in several times the stop, challenge, choose. So, like we're saying with Meredith, there's never a good time to start. So you got to just jump in when you have your health goals. There's never a perfect time, and things always come up. So how do we deal with the things that come up? Well, we have our coach, we have our group. That's what we're doing here, but also just in the moment. How do you get clear thinking instead of just your lizard brain, your amygdala, and your ego taking over and just running the show? How do we get control of the prefrontal cortex, our conscious thought? Well, a lot of that is our relaxation techniques. Like Amy says, take that deep breath. Dr. A says, grab your water. If it's in your dominant hand, you're more likely to take a drink. So let's all do that. Take a drink, hydrate. Welcome, Sandy. She's in comfy chair today. Hello, hello. So we're just getting started hydrating and take a deep breath. And if you all want to do the double deep breath, first fill the belly, breathe in through the nose, then fill the chest cavity, and then double long exhale out the mouth generally. So just do that again. Another double breath. And honestly, if you do that 1, 2, 3 times, you could do it again. And you're taking manual override of the parasympathetic system. What should be natural to rest and relax. The world has gotten away from us and our day gets away from us and life happens. So we have to take manual control sometimes and do the conscious breathing so that then we can have conscious thought and hopefully a little better clarity. So with that, let's turn it over to Charlotte for some new relaxation techniques and tips, and then we'll go from there. So take it away, Charlotte.
Hello, everyone. I recognize a couple of you from the other times I've been on here. So my name is Charlotte. I am with distressy.com, and I do relaxation sessions over Zoom with people. So first off, let's just get really comfortable, whether you're in a bed or in a chair. Go ahead and just get as comfortable as you can. And you are going to need a flat surface today for your hands. So if you're in bed, of course, that would be your flat surface. If you're in a chair, if you use a coffee table, if you can't, you will just use your lap. So I was going to get started with some deep breathing, and you already know how to do that. So let's go ahead and take a breath into the belly and then into the chest, and then out real slow through your nose. I'm sorry, through your mouth. What did I just say? Okay. So go ahead and practice that 2 more times. Into the belly, into the chest, and then out real slow through your mouth. And you will keep this type of breathing throughout the entire exercise. And I'll try and remind you to keep breathing. So I'm going to ask you to tense a muscle, and then I don't want you to do anything that hurts though. So there may be some uncomfortableness of tensing a muscle real hard, but I don't want you feeling any kind of pain, especially sharp pains. And if you feel that, you need to back off until that pain is not there anymore. And I usually count down from 5 and I say release. And when I say release, that is a quick release. You don't slowly do it. So you quick release and then immediately take a deep breath. And so we are going to work on the hands today. So I need you to rub your hands together really vigorously. And that's just to kind of get those muscles nice and warm. They're going to work better if they are warm. Okay. And then now you can slow down and just do a therapeutic touch, nice and slow. Yes. Keep breathing. Okay. And now I want you to take a gentle fist, real gentle. Wrap your thumb across your fingers. And it's just a light fist. And just hold that for the count of 10. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. And go ahead and wiggle out your fingers. Okay, and now we're going to make a really tight fist. Now remember, make it as tight as you absolutely can personally bear. It's super tight. You're super angry, but don't act angry. So hold this really tight. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Go ahead and shake that out. Take a deep breath. And just kind of notice how your hands feel. Kind of want them to feel get a little, maybe even a little tingly. Okay. And so a lot of times our hands just naturally sort of crumple up. You know, I don't know, when I'm sleeping, I feel like I do like this. My hands just kind of like naturally do this. So we're going to go in the opposite direction. So put your hands together like a prayer. And then lift up your palms. Again, it doesn't have to hurt, but you do need to stretch. You're stretching out those muscles right there. And hold that. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Deep breath. Shake it out if you need to. Go ahead and do a second deep breath. And then you're going to do what I call the claw. And this is just a range of motion. So pull those fingers in and then try and pull the thumb in and then kind of tight. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. You can kind of stretch. Okay, now we're going to pinch each finger to the thumb. So we're going to start with this one. Keep your other ones as straight as you possibly can. And then pinch those together. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Next fingers. Try and keep the fingers straight. Pinch really tight. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. And now the next finger. And pinch. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. And the last little fingers, I can't get that other finger up. That's okay. Now pinch hard. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Oh, shake that out. And now is when you need your flat surface. And if it's just your lap, that's fine. I'm at a desk. I'm going to do it on my desk, but I'm going to demonstrate like this. So your hand is going to be flat on your surface, whatever surface that is. And you're just going to lift one finger at a time. So we're going to start with the thumb. And then we're going to move on to each finger. But go ahead. So now put your hands flat and lift up your thumbs as high as you can. So if that's like that. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put that one down and the next finger up. So your next finger comes up. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put that one down and the next finger up. Try to keep the others flat. And up. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Down. And then the next finger, the ring finger, I don't know. Just do your best. Another finger might come up with it. Just do your very best to lift that ring finger up without the others. Okay, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. And last finger, little finger up. And don't forget to breathe. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release and breathe. Shake out. Shake, shake, shake anytime you can. It always feels good. And then the last one. No, not the last one. Sorry. You're not done yet. Now put your hands out like this. You're spreading your fingers apart. And you're going to take your thumbs and you're going to wipe your thumb across your hand like this. So just, yeah, kind of slowly go all the way and then come back and then do it again. And obviously this is another range of motion exercise. A lot of us, we use our hands all day, every day. And so it's really good to get those hands mobile. And of course, if you're having the beginnings of carpal tunnel or any of those things, these exercises are going to be really good. All right, so now we're done with that. We're going to pull our fingers. And this isn't pulling hard enough we're not trying to make them pop. We're just pulling from the hand all the way out to the end of the finger. And do each finger all the way out. It's a nice, comfortable pull. And then both hands. Do your other hand too. All the way out. Okay, when you're done, I want you to go ahead and give your hand a little bit of a massage, in the middle here. Now, some of you, if you know any reflexology, there's a lot of stuff in our hands and our feet that really connects to your entire body. So anytime you can give your hands a little massage, it's going to benefit your entire body. And of course, doing that with essential oils is going to help a lot. And I know if you want to know more about that, you'd have to ask Carrie. I don't know about the essential oils like she does. Okay, real nice and massage. And now when you end, we're just going to do this again, this nice therapeutic touch to your hands. And deep breath. And thank you so much for having me. I hope you feel better. Your hands feel more relaxed.
I do. That was so nice. Anybody comments, thoughts? How did that feel? Did it help you focus and concentrate? Do you feel a little more relaxed? Anybody else ready for a nap? Don't fall asleep, Meredith, if you're driving. Yeah, so that was really nice. But yeah, feel free. We're going to do open mic here. If you want to comment, if you want to raise your hand, I can see you.
Definitely more relaxed.
Good. And I just like the fact that it was, consciously engaging your senses as well in the relaxation. And so sometimes we need a little walkthrough, how to do it, things that should come naturally to us, but we've forgotten. Or we never learned it, or we just didn't do it. We just go boom, 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 boom through our lives. But I like how you said that. Just give your hands a massage, because yeah, if you ever look on reflexology charts and Vitaflex points or whatever, they correspond to your inner organs. And I used to do this when I would get car sick, rub the head area.
Yes.
And yeah, and I haven't done it in a while, but I do still get car sick. So when I'm not driving. And
yeah,
I do live
if you're
in
driving, don't do this.
yeah, I live in very curvy jungle roads. So if my husband's driving, yeah. So anyway, that's when we're gonna stop, challenge, and choose. But see, that's part of it. It's just getting the conscious thought. Okay, now we're not letting the ego run the show at the moment. So let's just have a little support and chat and talk about wins, celebrations of the week. We already mentioned Meredith and her husband are on day 2, getting started with the program, even though Amy's on vacation. Do you have to take off, Charlotte? Okay, thank you so much for coming. I knew you had a little bit shorter time today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And let's just go ahead and put in the chat your website, and anybody can hop over there and take a look at that. De-stressy.
All right.
All
Thank
kinds of
you.
stuff. I'll grab that in a second. All right. So, anybody do anything fun and exciting on the long weekend where they had to stop, challenge, and choose that you wish you would have or you did? You have a good example or a learning moment? Got your hand up, Sandy? Go ahead. Go ahead and open the mic. Yeah.
Well, I would. I spent 5 days in Seattle at a convention, and so it was all the activities were planned. There were 3 meals included and a few other things. But when they weren't included, I wasn't totally careful, but I actually chose made fairly healthy choices. Steve and I shared a lot of things because we wanted to try more things. So we'd have, share something and then go down the street an hour or so later and try something else. And so that was kind of fun to try the new foods. And I went with the attitude that I didn't want to, deprive myself of the experience, because when am I going to be in Seattle again? Maybe never.
Right.
So did a lot of walking. I mean, not as much as I normally do, my 5 miles a day, because that's intentional, but we did a lot of walking around the city and looking at things. And I didn't gain, I'll put it that way. I didn't lose anything, but I didn't gain any. So that is a plus, because it was a little out of the ordinary. And choices that I was making.
And I like that you made those choices to also enjoy your time. And do you feel that you're walking your 5 miles a day helped you on your vacation?
Well,
I mean, what you were used to.
I didn't get the 5 miles a day. That's what I'm saying. Some of the
Right,
days
but already
I did.
having the habit of the
Oh,
movement.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it made me want to move around rather than just sit around. in Seattle, there's a lot more hills. I mean, we were going up
Oh.
and down, up and down. It was,
And
I
you're
walked.
used to Minnesota Chanhassen on the level.
Yes, exactly. So that was a little tricky, but it was good. It was very, the weather was much better there. We got lucky. It was in the 70s, low 80s,
Perfect.
no rain. There was rain in the forecast every day, never rained.
5 days
Sunshine.
in Seattle with no rain. Woohoo,
Yeah, it was
Sandy.
beautiful. And we learned how to take public transportation. But here's what's really fun. Everybody else, we're at a hotel by the airport. There's nothing nearby. There's no place to go eat for other choices. There's no, okay. Except right across the street was a 7-Eleven, like a quick trip type. Okay, so, people say, oh, that's gross. Let me tell you, we got breakfast and lunch every day, small portions of like a turkey and a turkey and cheese sandwich or Italian sandwich and fairly decent food. And we spent 1/4 of what everybody else did because the hotel had a
Right.
$30 breakfast, $30 buffet. I can't eat $30 worth of food and I'm not going to waste the money. So,
Right.
so for every meal that wasn't included, we just went to the 7-Eleven and brought our little bag back to the room and just had a little snack. It was perfect. So
Yeah. And 7-Elevens do have a lot of different choices, but
they do actually. Everybody
yeah.
goes 7-Eleven. Like I said, you have to go look. Don't take my word for it. It's not that bad. It's really
Yeah,
not
even
that
Quick
bad.
Trip, they've gotten better choices for the
Yes,
meal type foods too. So
right,
that's
right.
good. I remember Amy Michelle doing a thing when she was on vacation with her dad. They were on a cruise. She's like, "How do you eat healthy on a cruise?" Well, it's a buffet, but there's always choices that can be good choices in
Exactly.
there.
The hard part is
And
looking
so
at all
that's
the
what you
really good stuff that you want. But the other
and
thing
not
it is,
picking that.
I packed oatmeal for breakfast every day, and I just used the coffee maker to, run
In
the
the
hot
room.
water through.
Love
I had
that
a little
travel
shaker of
tip.
cinnamon, no sugar, but cinnamon. And then, you know what emergency is? It's like an additional
Yeah.
vitamin C drink.
Vitamin
I
C.
had
Mhm.
that as my juice every morning just to try to, stay healthier. So I actually planned ahead a little bit with
I
breakfast
think you
anyway.
did. See? That's great.
Yeah.
And
So
how do you feel
well,
about the whole trip?
I feel good about the experience. I came back with my dizzy head again. It had gone away for a week and a half,
Oh,
and now it's back. So I'm struggling today, which is why I was
wow.
late. I had just had trouble getting myself together, and I'm in a chair because Steve is at my computer right across the room from me, downloading my 1,000 pictures I took.
Well, that had better get saved. And then we'll look forward to seeing a few of them as it goes, as they get posted,
Yeah,
shall
it
we
was a
say.
twin convention. So when you see double, you
I
really are okay. You're just seeing twins.
I thought maybe so. So that's neat, your twin convention. Wonderful. And so making the conscious choices going into it and planning ahead a little bit and making good choices along the way. So that's all part of our stop, challenge, choose.
And not
Every
feeling
moment we have
bad
a choice.
afterward. Yeah, not feeling bad about it because I chose what I wanted to do. It's not like, oh, you dummy, what were you doing? I made the choice and I was fine with it.
You did good. I'm proud of you. Way to go, Sandy. And that was what I was going to say too. Your choice of how you feel about it. We're not just a result of, what goes on in the world. We have the choices. And so we can choose to feel good about it. And in fact, if anyone else has a comment, raise your hand, just open your mic, start talking. But I was going to say that ties in with what Dr. A said yesterday. Did anyone catch Dr. A live or the Facebook streaming recording a little bit later? Okay. He was talking about how we can add joy in our life or how we can choose joy. And just like Sandy was saying right there, so it can be a choice, waking up the conscious thought to the path to joy in your life. Do you have any points there you wanted to share? Go ahead, Sharon. You usually have some notes. I don't always get to take notes if I'm just listening, but if I'm sitting down,
Well, when you talked about the joy, just choose joy over being right.
that was a biggie. What do you think that even means? Have you mulled that one over a little?
You don't have to always be right. I mean, just You don't have to
Yeah.
be the last one to end the conversation and feel that you have to be, right,
Yeah.
or continue to make a
that ties
point.
in. Yeah. And he was really tying that in too with our ego. There's our ego, and then there's ourselves. There's me, myself, and I, and we and us. He didn't go into all that. But your ego is your perception and trying to say how things are, even though it's just being perceived. It might not be actually the way things are. So your ego thinks it has to be right. And that's kind of what he was going there. But we can decide how we feel, and we can, make the conscious choice of, or decision of what the facts are, what the situation really is, and we can adjust it. Well, I used to always react this way, but now I choose to feel this or react this way. And with everybody that was not calling in, but there on the webinar and had the questions, that's pretty much what he walked them through. And he didn't do the 4 questions exactly, but that are in the book, what happened, what did you want to happen, and what can you do differently next time, because the situation will come up, right? And so asking those questions in our head, of course, our first reaction, we might not have time for that, but this is the stop, challenge, and choose. This is the little pause in between, the pause, pray, and proceed, however it's, you want to word it. But we don't have to be, we're not just animals. We don't just react. We do get the chance to think. And so here I'm going to pull up the 4 questions and pop them in the chat if anyone's looking at them. I don't remember the page numbers and all that. Amy's always good with that. So when you find yourself in the drama triangle, the victim-y, it's like, yeah, but this happened to me. Or you're looking for making somebody the hero, or you have to be the hero. But what is happening? Just observe, what is the situation? What did I want to have happen? So there's the expectation. And what's missing? How come it didn't turn out the way I thought? Like Sandy's like, well, I didn't expect breakfast to be $30. But what's missing? Let's budget. And what's next? See, that's where your choice comes in. So we do have that choice. And then there's where you come in, Sharon. You can choose joy over being right. The situation appears this way, but you can choose to feel this way. And it was so amazing how he broke it down in every little example with each person that he talked to. Some were really big things, and some were just simple daily choices, like our next meal. Some were going through a divorce, or raising kids, or parents with dementia. And those are big things, but it's the same process. Stop, challenge what is perceived in the situation, or challenge what you normally react to, if it's anger, frustration, whatever, and then choose. You get to choose how you react. But you can see how this can apply in every aspect of life. And that's why it's, so fascinating, so helpful to become, conscious leaders of ourselves, of our own thoughts. So he started out too by saying that most are stuck in the ego, the personal mind, which is trying to create psychological safety, which is good. I mean, that's what the ego is there, is trying to protect us, That's its job. Just like the amygdala, react, survive. But it ends up creating automatic thoughts, these cognitive emotive loops where we don't think, we just act. So that's where I love. And then he talks about lead from the future. So if you guys can do that right now, lead from the future, what does that even mean? So picture yourself. Where do you want to be tomorrow, next week, in a month? You got some goals. So if someone can think of an example, and if you want to share, like, where do you want to be in a month? Where do you want to be in a year? Or a situation is coming up. what do you expect to happen? But think about that. Now, if and when, we'll just say when you reach that goal, how will you feel? You know, maybe Sandy's her goal. When I walk 5 miles, how do I feel? Sharon, if I go another month without refined sugar, how do I feel? At first, Sharon, was it hard to imagine how would it feel without having sugar when you were on day 1, 2, 3?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then after a month, did it start getting a little bit easier? Yeah. See, that's leading from the future. So picturing in the future, I've reached this goal. How does it feel? And maybe it's weight loss. Maybe you're down 5, 10, 50 pounds, whatever it is. Maybe what's your goal? When you're just at 1, 2, or 3, it's like, I can't even imagine keeping going at this. Or when you're walking, 5 miles, I can't even imagine doing a mile. So, but what is your different goal? And if you haven't written it down, write it down. What is my personal goal for next week or next month? But how are you going to feel when you reach that goal? Now picture yourself in the future next month. You've reached that goal. How does it feel? How do you feel when you reach a goal? Sharon, Sandy, Vicky, how do you feel when you've reached it?
Just satisfied.
Awesome.
I mean,
Yeah. How many of
like
us
you,
go through every day of life feeling satisfied? So I feel so satisfied. And then, I'm a little proud of myself. I did that. I feel good. And Sandy, how does it feel when you've done your 5 miles or you're paddling your laps around? What is it? Lake Anne?
Lake Ann, yes. I've missed it for a week, and then when I came home, it's been too windy. I'm hoping to get out again today. It feels really good. I mean, it feels like um I the way I know is because I really missed it when I was gone. I missed the paddling. I missed the routine walking. Um,
Yeah,
and I'm
routine. That's
anxious
how
to get
you
back
know
to
it's actually a habit. Yeah.
yeah, because there was no
And
place to kayak. There's plenty of places to walk. There just wasn't the opportunity, to
while you
do
were on
what I.
vacation.
But I was just thinking, I have to go out of town again the end of October, for 4 or 5 days. I'm going to Indianapolis for another for a board meeting, and I believe I believe that they're going to be serving all the meals. So then I have to think about, now what am I going to do when I go to the breakfast buffet? My normal routine is don't waste anything. So just pile it on and taste it all. Well, I'm going to have to be real. I'm going to have to really stop and think about what I'm putting on my plate, because I know there will be choices. And even when they bring dinners, there are choices. You don't have to eat it all. I was raised with the Clean Plate Club, but you don't have to eat it. You don't have to eat everything on your plate. Sadly, you can't take it out of a banquet. They won't let you take food back to your room. It's on your plate. They throw it away.
Yeah.
So that troubles me a lot, but I need to get beyond that. It troubles me because there are so many hungry people in the world, and why am I leaving half behind?
Yeah.
But
So
those are
so
things that I
let's
have to go beyond.
so let's use this right now. Let's keep going with this same thought of projecting, leading from the future. So you know how it feels when you accomplish your goal, because you've done it with other goals. Now we're going to project it onto your next goal. Okay, so your next goal is the breakfast buffet. How are you going to handle it at your next leadership group when you're out of town? How do you feel when you have all that food and you have to throw it away?
It makes me feel sad.
Yeah.
And so
And
that's the difficult piece of it.
so how do you feel when you decide to leave it there on the buffet and you clean your plate? How do you feel?
Oh, leave it on the buffet is fine. I'm talking about when they bring you
No,
a. Yeah, that one's not so hard because that's not my problem. What I choose
right,
to
but
eat.
that's why I'm helping you make
Oh, I
make
see.
the choice now. So how will you feel when you choose to leave that on the buffet line, but you make the choices to put on your plate, but you clean your plate? How do you feel?
Okay, I mean, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
what I want to do. But
Okay.
then
And
we get to lunch and dinner when it's not a buffet and it's a plated dinner. That's the one I have the issue with.
because you have to order the meal and you can't leave half of it and take to the room like you do at restaurants with ducky bags.
Doggy bag or share with the husband. We've been
Hmm.
sharing meals for years because the
Me and my
portions are
husband
way
too.
too big.
Yeah, I'm like, who
Excuse
eats
me.
that much? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So the buffet is easier because you do have the choice, but it's the ordered meal. Yeah. And is he going to be there with you to share the meal?
No, he is
Yeah.
not. It's a
Yeah.
Church Women United, so it's a women's group that I'm in.
No, you don't
A
like,
national group.
you like to try one of everything.
Okay. Yeah, he's back here saying, tell him how you like to try one of everything. Yeah, that's who I am. I like to taste
I
new
like
things.
to too,
But
especially
you
when
know,
you're in
you
a
can
new
take a
area.
teaspoon instead of a tablespoon. Cut down the amount. If you want to taste, take a teaspoon of it, and then you can taste more.
There you go. Okay, so who else has a goal that they have accomplished and they know how it feels and have a new goal they want to work on? So we're going to see how you can choose joy, choose how to feel. Can I pick on you, Sharon?
Hey,
Do you have a next goal?
oh,
I'm just going to do a little walkthrough, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Okay, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah,
So let's just use one of the examples that he gave, Dr. A, going back to what he spoke of. When something comes up, when we're in the stop challenge choose, so maybe our choice is what we're going to order, what food. Maybe our choice is how are we going to react? Are we angry? Are we calm in whatever situation, whether it's driving in traffic or whatever? So in that split second, you can choose how you're going to react. So you go through the options in your mind. Do I feel more open? Do I feel opening up with this option? Or do I feel a closing, a tightening, like shutting down if I go with this option? Like, oh, that's an icky choice. A feeling. What is the feeling? So notice that. I even mentioned that last week. More open or more closed, instead of good feelings or bad feelings, positive or negative. Maybe it's an openness or a closed, So listening to our body, what is our gut reaction on things instead of just reacting without thinking. And that's why having the exercise with Charlotte in the morning, 20 minutes ago, of just getting in touch with our physical senses and relaxation so we can have the conscious thought. And these are things that will help us in every aspect of life. And then if we find just a negative voice comes up, like, you're no good, you can't do it, you're not worth it, things like that we all get that come up, that's when we want to throw in, have quickly, our mantra. Maybe even shorter than a phrase, just a positive word. Maybe it's just calm. Maybe it's just breathe. Maybe it's I got this. What's a good catchphrase for you? I got your back. Do you ever say that to yourself? Do you ever do the high five? You got this. But start doing that to yourself, giving yourself the positive inserted phrase. Okay, breathe. I got this. Now I can make a choice. See, that took, even saying it out loud, that took 1 second. But this is what we are doing in our mind, having the conscious thought, but flipping the negative to a positive. And again, by taking a drink of water while we're doing that, we're taking a deep breath. This is, Dr. A will take you right back to this. This is your centering, getting your parasympathetic back to relax, even your posture. He said, you know, if you're all hunched over, it might not be the best posture to make a decision. So sit up, opening up, and then you can make a decision. But all that, even the physiological response. And here was a great phrase. I don't know if you caught this one, Sharon, in your notes. Ego is a terrible master, but an awesome servant. Yeah, I see you nodding. You got that one too. So let's think about that again. Ego is a terrible master, but an awesome servant. Drink of water, deep breath, pause. We're going to think about that one. Yeah, because we don't want our ego with just our stored traumas making the choices for us. You know, we want to have the conscious choice in the moment. And then he said, all joy starts by understanding what your ego perceives, but you choose how you respond. I was like, blown out of the water. All joy starts by understanding what your ego perceives, but you choose how you respond. And that's why joy is actually a choice. And if we can be grateful in the moment, like Sandy could have focused on all the bad choices she made, but she didn't. In each choice, she was grateful she had a choice. Do you notice that? And then you can have the joy. And I just thought that was very powerful. So how do you think you can use that in your daily life? You know, any one of you. I'm not going to put anybody on the spot. But if you want to open mic and share, how can you now, when you understand what your ego perceives, you've observed it, and you choose how you respond, if you have gratitude, how can you have joy? How can that help you have joy in other aspects of your life? Whether it's food or sugar or fuelings or water or movement or exercise, you know, any one of sleep habits. But do you see how this can apply with each one of those? So all those are physical things that we might be working on if, you know, you're in the life book or on the program. But it all starts with the thoughts, the conscious thoughts. So being aware. So let's all practice being more aware. And if you can, before you have to make a decision, drink of water, deep breath. It really does come down to that. And just being grateful. You have a choice.
I have a scenario that maybe we could work through going to the grocery store.
That's a biggie. And how do you feel about going to the grocery store, Sharon?
By myself, awesome.
It's the other people. and that's the irony in life. You can't control other people. It's hard enough to control our own thoughts, right?
So
Okay.
I
Let's
just,
hear your scenario.
well, I don't know. I just was thinking about, yeah, when I go in, I mean, I know to stay on the outside of the store, the edges where the fruits and vegetables are, and steer away from going down the middle where all the processed foods are. And so how do I don't know, I'm just looking for some words or to keep us, you know, husband and wife, on the outside instead of going down the middle. And how to.
And are his food choices the same as your food choices?
Oh, they no, they wouldn't be.
Yeah. So I'm going to suggest having two grocery lists. You do the perimeter, he does the middle, meet up and pay for it. So that you don't, are you saying that so that you don't have to go down the middle aisles and so that you're not tempted? Is that the angle you're looking at?
It's not a temptation for me. No.
Okay.
Just going down the with, like I said, with the spouse,
Yeah.
that's the it's not tempting for me. I just want to know how to get us out of the center aisle.
Yeah. And
If
is
that
it
makes sense, away from the
yeah.
chips or away from the ice cream or away from, from those things.
Yeah,
that-
because if you're going down the aisle, getting it in the cart, even if it's not you doing it, it's still going to end up in your house where you're going to be surrounded by it.
Yep. And who's actually going to be preparing the meals?
it would be me.
Because my husband does most of the cooking. So
Or I
but
mean,
that's
I
yeah.
would leave it in a cupboard. I wouldn't even, maybe he
Yeah,
would
and
forget about it. I mean, it's not really, I'm just, maybe it's just to help somebody else too here.
it is, and that's
Because
a very practical scenario to work through. And I know, like in Sandy's case, her hubby wants to have the junk food and he wants it laying out. So she's like, I can't be looking at it in my house. So tried the man cave, and now I know you're in the living room probably with him. Sandy.
But no, I'm actually I'm in my office. He's like 5 feet from me, sitting at my computer where I usually do Zoom,
Yeah.
unloading my pictures.
And didn't you try to make his man cave in the basement with the
Yeah, well, for a while,
candy and junk food?
yeah,
And
there's
how
a
did
whole
that go?
box of the junk in his office in the basement. But not anymore, but you used to. He's here saying I don't have any. But
I
so
know.
we did pretty much, he's pretty much gotten off of soda for the most part. So that was a big step. While we were gone, I didn't have any, I think he might have had one. But yesterday, so this is a real indication. Yesterday was our 48th anniversary. We went to dinner. We had a nice walleye dinner. We shared a walleye dinner, green beans, walleye, and garlic mashed potatoes. Fairly good meal, right? And then he got Dr. Pepper. And so I drank half of his Dr. Pepper. Within an hour, I was so sick. I could barely make it to the bathrooms at Aldi and Cub while we were grocery shopping afterwards. The only thing I could think of is it had to be the Dr. Pepper, because walleye, green beans, and potatoes would not react that way, I don't think. It was just the strangest thing.
Yeah, especially if you've been at that restaurant before, unless it was some random
Yeah,
cooking
and he
oil.
ate the very same thing. We shared the meal. He was
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. But my mom always had like Olestra when that came out. She's like, that's like WD-40 on my intestines. Goes right.
Yeah.
But
so I was really, I was sad that I got so sick after having such a wonderful meal, but I think I figured out it had to be the Dr. Pepper.
Interesting. Well, see, and that, going back to your scenario, Sharon, that's really a situation that it's not the conversation you have while you're at the grocery store. Because once you're there,
it's too late for the conversation.
It's too late for the conversation. But it brings up the point of the conversation that needs to be had. And the difficult conversations is where the growth happens. So knowing what your wants and needs are, and his, might not be the same, might be junk food, snack food, whatever, and maybe he can have his snacks and you don't see it. But if it's the meals that you prepare, it's like, why do we even have that in the kitchen? Because I'm not going to prepare it. I'm not going to cook it because I'm not going to serve it on the table. But that could be, and I think that's good for all of us. I think it's an awesome example, Sharon, because then it shows that our choices, they do extend beyond just us. Most of us live with someone or have frequent interactions with someone, and it's going to involve the food choices. So if you do shopping and cooking with someone, these are conversations that are important. And just saying, this is important to me, let's try this for now. And let's not even, I actually have a chart on my refrigerator that it has sugar and different foods, and it has my skull and crossbones. I do a graphic there. Toxic, this is poison, don't put it in my food, because he's doing the cooking. And yes to lots of green leafy vegetables, and other, I'm not going to go into all the details, but mine specifically was for thyroid. It's like, cruciferous vegetables, but if they're cooked, and but I had poison, good stuff, cooking oil made in a factory. It came from a factory plant, good fat cooking oils, healthy, and you're learning these things as you're on the 5-in-1 and all these. And when we learn to cook our lean and greens, it's because we're learning what's healthy. But if we're sharing a kitchen, if we're sharing a grocery cart, these are important conversations to have. Oh, and I made it a game for my husband. I said like a bonus points for avocado and bonus points. Oh yeah, I got extra points. Score! I got an extra life. I'm like, you get an extra life for your wife. I get to live another year longer. But that way we kind of made it fun too. But yeah, we had to have these conversations because when I started eating different, i.e. healthy, he's like, I don't know how to cook that. But he was willing when we tried and we made it fun. And I'm like, I ain't cooking two different things. So either you're doing this with me or or whatever. But they were hard conversations, and I did have to have his junk food, snack food in different places. And that I didn't see it or still. And so that was helpful. So in those, then we have the choice, and how you feel after you've made the certain choice. Oh, I really regret that. I wish I wouldn't have done that. That's what I used to always do. I'm falling back into old patterns. Or, yeah, that would be fun. Oh, I would like to try that. Oh, that makes me feel more satisfied, more content. We can actually visualize. How am I going to feel if I do this? How am I going to feel if I do that? Because we felt these feelings before. So I think we can apply that to grocery shopping. What do you think, Candace? I see you open your mic there.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking when it comes to shopping with someone else, and it's hard enough to change ourselves and to make our own. Our why is very personal as to why we are making the health choices we're making. And if our spouse hasn't done that, there's not, we have to find a way to have peace with it, and I think a lot of it comes down from, like you said, having those conversations and at least getting a level of respect where they're willing to, if they have junk food, hide it from you, or, and then just serve the healthy meals, so that we've done our part. We know in our own good conscience that we've done everything we can do to keep our spouse alive and as healthy as possible. And then what they choose to do after that is it's one of those things that we have to get our hands off of and just say, that's your choice. But please don't bring it in with me so that I'm not tempted to do it, because I really want to live a longer life, and I really want you to live that life as long with me. So just trying to not control them, but try to just let them know our whys. Sometimes people don't even tell their spouse their why, or the people close to them. This is what really moved me to tears, to say, I'm going to make these changes. I'm going to give up sugar, or I'm going to do this or that. We don't have to be married long to know that we can't control the choices our spouses have made.
Yeah. No, that's
But
good.
if
And
we can find some compromise and feel good about what we're doing for them, and let them know I'm making this healthy food for you because I want you to live, then that helps a lot.
yeah, and that is really important. Like you said, it's, going to be communication, but finding your why, that was great. And sharing it. And this isn't something we necessarily share with everybody, but yeah, those who share the grocery cart and share the kitchen, we might want to share our why with them. And as you were saying that, it also reminded me that Dr. A was saying, if we're triggered by something, if it bothers us or it brings up, a big reaction, that is stored trauma. Then we're getting to the icky sauce, like he always says. And we're really feeling it. So I just remembered as you were saying that, I've never really gone on a diet. I don't believe in it. I don't do diets. Because my mom did. I grew up in the 80s, so she did all the 80s diets. But when mom did just watermelon, there was like, where's the cereal? No, we're having watermelon. Really? I'm not on her diet. And maybe that's how our spouse feels, because they don't share our why. They also like, why are you changing my food? Because maybe this was my comfort food. Why are you taking that away from me? And again, we can't control thoughts and feelings of the other person hard enough to work on our own thoughts. But that's when the conversations come up, because we've touched stored traumas, ourselves, theirs, whatever. Yeah, so to me, diet is a bad word. The diet. So when Amy Michelle always says that, I'm like, yeah. So I don't do it. But I do like to feel better. I do like to make healthy choices. And thinking, how does that make me feel? Oh yeah, I get to choose joy. I get to choose health because I have a why. It, if your why doesn't make you cry, maybe you haven't dug deep enough, because it's in there. And that'll be what motivates you. So let's all think about that. I put the last couple of quotes in the chat. I don't know if anybody wants to save them, or I could send them. The ego one and joy starts with understanding, or I can put them in the Happy Health group chat later, because I think or you can go down and where it has the little chat and the 3 little dots. Sometimes you could save it, but who does that anymore?
If you want to send them, that'd be good in our.
Okay. I will. If someone wants them, I will share them. All right. Well, got another point there, Sharon, or was that closing out? Okay. Gotcha. Everybody, thank you for showing up for yourselves today. Thank you for showing up in the group, sharing just by being here, listening in. Remember some relaxation techniques. Like that, drink of water, that deep breath before you make a choice, and choose joy. And we'll see you all next week. Have a lovely week. Feel free to engage in the group chat in the Facebook if you have anything come up. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.